coming into sports. It has no place in sports. Look, if you are a religious person, fine. If you be you. You be you. If you are a Christian, fine. If you're a Muslim, fine. Look, I'm not a big fan of a guy like a Tim Tebow wearing his religion on his sleeve, but I don't really mind. I think it's okay. I mean, I won't, I don't get mad at stuff like that. But this stuff, I can't take it. I just can't take a religious group trying to ruin sports. Okay, you may not like homosexuals. Westboro Baptist Church, I'm talking to you, and anyone who, because of religious beliefs, okay. What I never understand, and this kind of has to do with sports and religion and everything, why do people who are religious, who talk about, oh, we love all people, all this stuff, if you're so religious, why don't you love all people? Yeah, I said it. Why don't you love all people if you have to go out of your way? You're talking about a group of people going out of their way to say they do not like gays in this country, the LGBTQ community in this country. Talk about a group going out of their way to do it, okay? If you have those beliefs, okay, I mean, even though I do not agree with your beliefs, I do not agree with people who say that the LGBTQ community should not be included in society and all that junk. I don't believe that. I believe everyone should be able to pursue opportunities in whatever they desire, okay? So, if you're the Westboro Baptist Church, I mean, you're not accomplishing anything. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go outside the Moda Center, just send out cards and say, we hate gays, we hate this, we hate that. Like, what are you doing? You're creating a negative stigma. You're not going to get more people to come, okay, to your church. Because everybody hates your church. So, I don't understand this at all, and this is a big issue too at hand in the way we talk about, and this kind of ties in the way we talk about gay marriage, the way we talk about marriage equality in general, LGBTQ athletes in sports, transgender athletes in sports. I think sports usually, whenever you see an athlete, and we saw this with the Jason Collins issue, and I supported Jason Collins coming out. I really did. Sports, we always look for the athletes to be so strong. They have to have a certain male chauvinistic characteristics about them in order for everyone to like them, right? That's what sports has become almost, right? Just a bunch of alpha dog males, right? That's what people expect. So when we see, people, here, I want to phrase this properly because I do not want to get misinterpreted. My goal, and what I'm trying to say here is, people in the LGBTQ community and transgender everything, and people who do not identify with a certain gender, they are not. These people are not being included. They are being told to shut up. I mean, let's think about when Collins came out and said, I am gay, right? Tons of people were not in support. There were a lot of people who were not in support, saying it was not appropriate. It was, athletes shouldn't be saying that. Athletes should be strong. That's all junk. That's all junk. Okay? Athletes should be able to express themselves however they want to. However they want to. And the Westboro Baptist Church and people like people who are members of the Westboro Baptist Church and people who are like those members, you don't have a place in sports. Because, and this is a great thing about sports too, that I like for the most part, I don't think there is any forum. I don't think there's any forum in this world, and this is one of the main reasons why I love sports. There is no forum in this world where it doesn't matter what your background is. Well, I mean, it does to a certain extent, but this is the example that I need to give so I can validate my point. If I'm playing on a basketball team, and Charles Barkley said this, this is pretty funny what he said. He said, if I'm playing in a pickup game and Steve Kerr is wide open for three, I'm not saying to myself, hey, I'm passing it to the white guy, right? Because that's what sports is all about. And that's what's so special about that. That's the special part about this forum. The special part about this forum, okay? If I'm playing a basketball game and Jason Collins is on my team, I'm not saying, oh my goodness, he's gay. I'm not going to pass it to him. Right? And that's the special part and the thing I love about sports. Doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter race, everything. We can all come together to accomplish goals. And unfortunately, this aspect of sports is not being taught on a wide scale, on a global scale. So then we continue to have ignorance in this country when it comes to people in the LGBTQ community, when it comes to people talking about the LGBTQ community, when other people talk about people of different races, people are generally ignorant because they're not taught about these values that are important. Okay? And it's unfortunate that the Westboro Baptist Church is doing this. It is so awful. It is so awful. Awful. Hate it. Okay. Let's move on. My computer keeps freezing. There's a big issue, I want to say this really, really quick about Stuart Scott. I personally love Stuart Scott. I think he is. I loved him as a broadcaster. I didn't know him on a personal level, but anytime I saw him on the air, I was thrilled. I was thrilled to see him on the air. My mom would watch Oprah, right, in the afternoon. And, anytime I'd come home from school, I'd want to see Stuart Scott on SportsCenter because I just liked him that much. And John Skipper of ESPN mentioned this in his... John Skipper mentioned this in the tribute. He said, Stewart brought the hip-hop in his sports. That hip-hop feel. And anytime he went on the air, he wasn't a generic broadcaster who used your typical phrases, your, typical terms and all that. He made sports fun for once. Usually, we're so accustomed to seeing the SportsCenter anchor being so serious, but he was so casual and he was just so smooth with his words. He was so descriptive on the air. And the thing I loved about him too, and again, I don't know him as a person, I'm just talking about as a broadcaster, when I would watch him. I loved his poetry jams. He would do these segments, these poetry jams, and he would do a whole highlight or whatever the case may be in we got a comment right now, but sports is about, broadcasting, when we talk about Scott, he, with his poetry jams, he was so eloquent, so smooth. He could describe things in just such a fun way. It's like we were talking about sports in the backyard. And Scott brought that to the TV set. He brought that to the TV set with a lot of class and professionalism. And that's what separated him from any other broadcaster. And he really paved the way. And I don't know, I think personally, he paved the way for a lot of broadcasters. And I don't know him personally. Again, I wish I met him personally. I really did. I thought he was just, I would want to pick his brain. I wish he would come on this show, That's how much I loved his broadcasting. And, people, it caught, on social media, a lot of people are talking about Scott and everything. A lot of people who are not really, who may not be as passionate about broadcasting or stuff like that. But I think for me, and a lot of people, expect me to cry or something, and just anytime I hear about Scott, it just brings a smile to my face. It really does. I get, anytime I would see him, I would smile. Because I knew it was going to be a fun broadcast, and it was going to be good. It was going to be different. He did it his way. You see, a lot of broadcasters don't challenge the way that he did, and he did it his way. He did it the best way. Scott was remarkable. He was remarkable on the air. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see him on the air anymore. But I loved him. I loved him on the air. And I wish I knew him personally. Chuck Wilson, evenfield.org founder. Youth ethics, youth sports ethics. What happened to it? What is he trying to do with evenfield.org? He was a former ESPN radio host. One of the most prepared radio hosts you'll ever find. We're going to take a quick break in a second, but Phil Nunziata, he's on this channel. He just commented, very well spoken. Sports is about coming together to accomplish something. Absolutely, Phil. Absolutely. That's what sports is about. And that's what's so special about this forum. And I love this forum. You don't see this in any other any other field, really. I mean, I can't find any other place where you could find this. Complete, unselfish, or what it should be, okay? And it should just be all about recognizing and understanding the fact that everyone should be included. Everyone should be included, no matter what the sexual orientation is. And in this country, we do have a problem with sexual orientation. I mean, we do have a problem with a lot of ignorant people who make fun of the LGBTQ community. We see it a lot. And it's unfortunate. And sports has the power to break that. Sports has the power to break that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Chuck Wilson will be on our show. Stay tuned.
Your presentation of national sports is brought to you by Spreaker.com. Broadcast and listen to news, radio, and music with one low monthly rate. Your show will be right back after this word from your local stations. You can contact National Sports in a number of ways through Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the label National Sports. We love to have you guys a part of our show and